What's going on, guys? Average Player with Banlist Prediction. Um, we're gonna be talking about a few cards. One of them is a hot take. One is something that's like an errata. That's why I put the errata section here. We have banned, limited, semi-limited, unlimited, and errata. Um, Honestly, the second time I'm recording because I forgot the freaking limited section. But the first thing we're gonna talk about is the errata section. I'm talking about Sprite Elf. You know, Elf is really good because it doesn't do anything besides you special summon a level rank link 2. Right? So it cannot be used as link material to turn its link summon. Your opponent cannot target monsters, discard points with card effects, which is really good. But I feel like the errata should come down farther down the line. During the main phase, quick effect, target one level 2 monster in your graveyard, or if your opponent controls a monster, target one rank or link 2 monster instead, special summon it, and then it's a hard once per turn. So I feel like if you slap on the end of that saying you can only special summon level rank link 2 monsters for the rest of the turn after this effect resolves, Sprite Elf could come back tomorrow and only sprites would play it. Right? And so that's what I'm saying. Elf would be better if they added the restriction just like Starter. But we're going to go straight for the ban. We're going to talk about two cards at once. Right? Because they come hand in hand. Most people do want to see, you know, both of these cards hit in some way. First one we're going to talk about is Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity being a outer entity as a thought on command for synchro decks. Obviously, that's really good. Centurion can do it on your opponent's turn by their natural card effects, just be able to synchro summon doing whatever. So they can hit you with this as a thought, so to speak, this massive, you cannot activate cards for the rest of the turn, dumb thing on your turn. And other synchro decks are using Crimson Dragon to cheat it out on your turn, because Crimson Dragon's a quick effect. So Calamities is the problem card. It needs to go. I feel like it should be banned. It should have been banned probably a while ago. And I feel like Crimson Dragon should get hit for a future proof saying, hey, look, we know Crimson Dragon is a good card. It does things that we never really thought of, like cheating Synchro Monsters out of the extra deck. Last time I checked, Guard Dragon Aggro Pain's banned for that exact reason. So, Crimson Dragon being generic, and both of them being generic, and one can cheat out the other, and one just easily makeable in almost every deck that synchro summons. Well, they're both very easily to make, but one can be made on your turn with certain decks. Is an indirect hit to synchro decks, and they have to use other things. I feel like the Calamity is going to be the hit that they're going to go after, and then Crimson Dragon, I feel like, if Fallout fails, they should at least hit Crimson Dragon, or they should hit both of them. Crimson Dragon should be future proof. So, next card ban, we talk about I Sold, and I Sold is here for two reasons. I'm talking about Diabellstar, and I'm talking about Makanko. So, Makanko is good, and we've seen Makanko be good. It's been topping YCSs, right? Like, crazy amount of Makanko decks topping. The deck is super strong. This card, I Sold, allows them to get any equip spell in their graveyard. That there's a one Makanko, like they dumped the one Makanko equip spell to the graveyard to add Renaud. That one equip card can use itself to revive itself and Makanko card back and do full combo. And all I had to do is two monsters that they don't even have to have an engine for. So I feel like if you hit I Sold, it's an indirect hit to Makanko, and they also have to play. They have to play then more consistency cards, right? And with the Bellstar, you can't get your level 1 on board as easy. You can't get a level 1 fire on board is easy. You can't get the equip cards. I feel like that's I Sold, just getting hit to indirectly hurt the new decks and hurt Makanko. So we're going to talk about Limited versus Pot of Prosperity. Everybody has access to this card now, so it's not like I don't have one. I've had some for a while. I just feel like this card is really good at 3, pointless to be at 2, but good at 1. So 3 is too consistent. Like you repeatedly see it, right? You open one of them, you only dig 6, it gets ashed, you can't do it again. Right? So Pot of Prosperity being at 1, it gets interrupted. There's no other card. and you can't really do anything else, which makes it fair. You put it at 1, it hurts consistency in most decks. Most decks will have to play something else, play something different on top of playing Pot of Prosperity. I understand that Flu's not really that good anymore, but it's a hit to Flu. It's a hit to a whole bunch of decks because Pot of Prosperity is super freaking good. It's hyper consistent. Next card we're going to talk about coming up to 1 first, before hitting off farther. Please just unban my boy Harpoor. Like, this dude's been sitting here since freaking Toss format. All of its brethren decks are basically good, except for Striker having Engage at 2. Salad's fully back. Harpoor's the only boy sitting there banned still. Unban my boy Harpoor. Let us have fun with a card that's ass anyway, please. This card's ass now. Like, this card can get interrupted 9 times out of 10, and your opponent's gonna be like, okay, you can't play, and you're like, yep, I can't play. Harpoor can come back. All right. There's no cards I want to put on the semi-limited. To be honest with you, I mean, I feel like if they were to put a card on the semi-limited, it would be Pank, just to bring it from 1 to 2. I think as long as Fenrir's in the game, and Konami's not going to hit Fenrir, I don't think they're going to. They've already done enough damage to Cash. And, you know, I understand Fenrir's that card that's like Pankratops that people are just playing 3 of. You just put Pankratops back up, you bring it to 2, bring it to 3. It's doing the same thing Fenrir does, you know. They're basically the same card. I feel like Fenrir just does a little bit more, so Pankratops should come to 2, and it should be fine. You know, Fenrir's just better. 2 unlimited cards here that I'm going to choose for myself. It is going to be Lightning Storm and Pot of Desires, going to 3. Nobody plays Pot of Desires. Like, what the hell are they doing? Nobody plays this card. This card's not even played anymore because of Pot of Prosperity. Right? Pot of Prosperity is way better. You don't have to banish half your deck. You banish half your extra deck. And most decks do play multiple copies of the same card, so they can banish it off the Pot of Prosperity. Banishing the top 10 cards of your deck. Not every deck can do that. Now, you banish the top 10 cards of your deck. Some decks, like Pearly, some decks, like Salmon Great used to, you banish your Gazelle, you basically lose the game. Pearly, you banish your Delicious, you're screwed. Like, you just gotta think about what decks can do it. None of the meta decks are playing Pot of Prosperity. Right? Not Pot of Prosperity, Pot of Desires. Pot of Desires is not as good anymore. Right? So I feel like it deserves to be at 3, and Lightning Storm should be at 3. I feel like it's just there to be a check for Labyrinth. Free my boy's Red Reboot, though. I feel like that card did nothing wrong. But anyway, like I said, this is an opinion for me. I can definitely see them not hitting Crimson Dragon, like I said before. I sold an opinion of mine. It's an indirect hit to both Diabellstar and Makanko. And then all these are basically like, you know, just regular cards. Like Pot of Prosperity is a consistency card getting hit. But to Pot of Desires is a consistency card coming back because it's not as good as this card. This card will still be played at 1. This card might not even be played at 3. This card can come back, it won't do shit. This card can come back, it won't do shit. This card needs an errata. This card can come back, it won't do shit. I mean, we have Raigeki in the game, and we have Harpy's Feather Duster. Raigeki's at 3, Harpy's Feather Duster's at 1. Right? So, I don't see anything with that. And to cover my bases before I do go, I didn't put Triple Tactics Talents on here. I didn't put Thrust on here. You know, Thrust, trust me, is probably going to get hit at some point on the ban list. The card is just crazy good. Right? And it's going to be one of those cards that's not going to be banned, but it's going to be at like 1. You know, most people are playing 1 Thrust anyway. So it might get banned, but Thrust is just way too good to stay at 3. You know, I've seen people play 3 Thrust, 1 copy of another card, or 1 copy of Thrust, 3 copies of the other card. So either way, you could hit it. But I feel like Talents and all these other single copy spell cards that are, you know, regular spell cards just get better because of Thrust. Thrust will be hit at some point. It's just way too new to tell. Talents, I feel like at some point it should be, but not yet. Right? Making your opponent shuffle a card back in their deck is probably like the strongest ability that card has besides Pot of Greed. Right? So I don't know what you expect. The card's probably gonna get negated 9 times out of 10. You know, I don't know. I don't feel like Talents is good enough to get banned, but Thrust is good enough to get hit at some point. So we just got to think about it. We got to come to consensus on that. This is just my opinion, though. I'm trying to think. I feel like Pearly's gonna get hit in some type of way. Maybe like a limit of another card. Try to hit the consistency of the deck. You can't really do as much, but still make it good. Where it's still gonna be good, but it's not gonna be exceedingly good. I feel like they're gonna hit Rescue Ace in some way. With not hitting Hydrant and not hitting Diabellstar, but hitting one of the other cards that have been out for a while, that would make sense to me. Because I don't know too much about those decks. I don't know what cards to put on here. And then there's like Makanko. I don't know what they would hit on that. Speaking that, all the Makanko cards just do so much. And so it's kind of hard to think, like, the best decks in the format, what would they hit, right? It's crazy how we're getting off the conversation of Brand Diffusion. I don't think that card deserved it anyway. It didn't get banned. It didn't get hit. I don't think that card ever really deserved it. Most decks that are playing Branded don't even play the card anyway. But I'll see you guys later. I'm sorry for being so far off. I've been building decks. I have literally so many decks that are almost done. I'm almost done with Phantom Knights, Soundman Greats. I'm almost done with. Dinos I'm almost done with. And then I'm building Rockets, which I'm almost done with. It's just when I build Rockets, I'm gonna need to borrow some cards from some friends. So we're gonna see about that. But anyway, I hope you all have a good day. See you later.